Welcome to the WDW Fan Zone show. Tonight we're doing our top fours, top four parks, top four restaurants, that's sit down and counter service, top four attractions, shows, and maybe we'll throw in a couple of things if we have time. Snacks also. There is no news tonight, and a couple of announcements before we actually get into the show. Well, first, let me know, but you know that we're here with Lottie, Kurt, John, and myself, Stuart. We're going to be moving the day we record the show from Thursdays to Sundays. So if the next show that we're going to record will be, I think it was the 17th of March, whatever that Sunday is. Not this Sunday, the following Sunday. So you'll have a new episode available that night. And so after tonight, there won't be a new episode until then. So everybody, let's get into the show now. And why don't we start off with our top four parks? Now, this is what we personally think are our favorites and why they're our favorite, or why we put it in the order that we put it in. Anybody like to go first?
Sure. Go ahead, John.
I was looking at you, Kurt.
That was great. Okay, John, go ahead.
Well, it's going to be not an exciting first one because it's the Magic Kingdom. I mean, I think the Magic Kingdom is exciting in itself, but it's definitely not a surprise. And
well, put them in order from 4 to 1.
Oh, yeah, well,
okay. 4 to 1.
All four of them. Well, my top park was Magic Kingdom. My second personal favorite is Epcot. My third favorite is Disney's Hollywood Studio, and fourth, Animal Kingdom. I like all the parks, but if I'm forced to choose an order, that's my order. Magic Kingdom is it's what feels the most like what Disney parks have always been in my mind for forever. So the castle and all of the attractions that are taken from the original Disneyland, and it's just overall the place that I would rather be if I could only pick one park to go on a trip.
Kurt, since you volunteered, John.
Might as well say goodnight, everybody. It's the same thing. Okay. The Magic Kingdom is Walt Disney World to me. That's what it was when we first started going there. It's just always been my number one park. All the festivals really helped Epcot for me. That's why I went with Epcot as 2. There's just too much to do, too much to eat. The older I get, the more I appreciate it. When I was younger, I didn't appreciate it as much. It was too much edutainment. Disney Hollywood Studios with the add of Star Wars Land really helped. If the 2 wasn't there, I don't know if it would be that or Animal Kingdom. So those were close. Animal Kingdom, it feels like there's more to do than over at Disney Hollywood Studios at times. It's just, overall, it's a bigger park. There's not more attractions, really. So I pretty much had the same order, though.
Okay. Lottie.
Are we going 1 to 4 or 4 to 1?
Yes.
Whichever way.
Okay.
Whichever way.
All right. My number 4. Of course, I got to be different, right? My number 4 is Hollywood Studios. Just not enough to eat at that park for me. I need food. 3, Animal Kingdom. It's the detail is unparalleled. Attention to detail is unparalleled. Number 2 is Magic Kingdom, and number 1 is Epcot. Epcot's been my favorite park for a while, and it's cemented its place as my favorite park with the addition of Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. I love all the festivals. I love all the food. I love all the culture. I could be there. I could spend my entire trip just at Epcot.
All right. Well, my computer finished updating. I was on my laptop for a moment. Now I'm here. So I have to get my I'll get my phone in a minute. My 4 to 1 is Hollywood Studios have as my number 4 pick. And it's not because, yes, I agree with Lottie, there's not enough to eat there, but there's not. I think it's more because the attractions themselves are just not in abundance at this moment. We've got Rock and Roller Coaster that's down, and the problem that I have with Hollywood Studios is that because there aren't enough attractions to disperse the crowds, the lines are just so long. And when you have long lines, what happens? You don't have as good a time as you could have in the park because you can't get on as many attractions as you like. Rise to the Resistance is always an hour or more, unless you're very lucky. I'm trying to think what else. Mickey's Runaway Railway, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. It's another one. It's just, those are 2 major attractions. Toy Story Mania, another favorite, is always crowded. I mean, that's probably the least crowded of the few I just mentioned. So for me, that's number 4. That could change a year from now or 6 months from now, but right now that's number 4. Number 3, this was tough for me. But I went with Animal Kingdom's number 3. I love the park, and I love all 4 parks. But I went with Animal Kingdom number 3 because, as you know, there's a lot to do. Than we had it showing it last week about what you can do at Animal Kingdom. But when you compare it to Epcot and Magic Kingdom, the first 2 parks, it just doesn't compare to what Walt, started out to do. Yes, it's a great park, and I'm glad it's there, and I hope it stays forever. But yeah, that's my number 3. Number 2, Epcot. I might have had number 1 if the front of the park had a couple of more attractions. By that I mean, the Imagination Pavilion. If it was updated and had something that would draw me to it, and another attraction there somewhere. I know we're not going to get Horizons back for those, people who want Horizons. Give us something else. I'll put a little bit more there than. And don't get me wrong, I love what they're doing there, but I need a little bit more. And I love World Showcase. And who doesn't like to eat at all those restaurants there and kiosks and everything else? So that's number 2. And number 1, Magic Kingdom. I hate the lines there that Genie Plus has created, but the beauty of living here is I can go for a couple hours and leave and come back another time. What I don't like about Magic Kingdom, and this is my personal thing, driving to the parks takes me about, I want to say 20 minutes to a half hour, depending on traffic. Then I've got to park at the transportation center, walk to either the monorail or the ferry, and that could take another half hour. So, for that, it becomes a little bit of an inconvenience, which detracts from the park itself a little bit. But that's because I live here. If I were at a resort, I couldn't care less. And I love the park. I love what it has to offer. My favorite attractions are there, from Haunted Mansion to Jungle Cruise to the Pirates. And, and there's a lot of food there. That's it for me. My 4. All right. Now, before we get on to the next round of 4 for all 4 of us, I have a round. It's a round for Lottie only.
Uh-oh.
4 favorite places to drink on Walt Disney World property.
I did that. I wrote that down. Number 4, Oga's Cantina at Hollywood Studios in Galaxy's Edge. Number 3 is Enchanted Rose at the Grand Floridian. 2, Disney Springs, Jack Lindsay's Hangar Bars, great for Indiana Jones fans. And number 1, at the Polynesian, Trader Sam's Grotto. Best places to drink.
Thank you, Lottie. I for all our alcoholics out there, that was nice for them to hear. All right, let's move on. Top 4 snacks. I'm going to mix up the order here a little bit. Top 4 snacks. John?
Oh boy. I do. Do they have soft pretzels that you can get at Disney World? Am
Yes,
I?
they do.
Yeah. So
Beer
I
garden.
like to get soft
No.
pretzels anywhere. So that's my number four. But just because it's a comfort snack for me. My number
Mm.
three, and I'm being a little broad here, and it could be at any park because they're all good. But a cupcake from anywhere, whether it's from back at the Big Top in the Magic Kingdom, or it's from Goofy's Candy Kitchen, or it's somewhere in Hollywood Studios. Disney makes fantastic cupcakes.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
uh, my number two is a favorite for a lot of folks, and it's something I seek out all the time. I keep forgetting to get it on the Disney Cruise Line, and that's a Mickey bar. I love Mickey bars. I absolutely love Mickey bars. But my favorite snack is the blueberry cream cheese mousse at Satuli Canteen. Every time we go to Satuli Canteen, I have one of those.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm a big blueberry fan, and I love that blueberry mousse.
It is quite tasty.
All right, Kurt.
All right, going in a different direction. Number four, believe it or not, is the Dole Whip float, with or without your alcohol, Lottie. It's if I am getting the rum, it's got to be the coconut rum over the dark rum. I just like the flavor better. I wouldn't turn it down if it was handed to me. Either way. Three, I go with a tropical serenade float. It's pineapple, orange, guava juice, coconut soft serve with an upside down pancake, pineapple cake pop. It's tasty. Both of those are from Aloha. They're just very good. My number two, over at the Carmel kitchen, the kitchen over at the Germany Pavilion, they make a snickerdoodle sandwich cookie that has caramel and frosting on the inside that are almost as good as my number one pick, which is the Gideon's Bakehouse chocolate chip cookie. So it's just a half pound of delightfulness.
All right.
So how long do you wait in line to get them?
Last time we waited about 45 minutes, I think.
Okay.
Oh, you're crazy.
So we have waited an hour before.
That's how long I've waited, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Lottie, what have you got for us?
Number four is the caramel popcorn at Caramel Kuche, or however you say it, in Germany. Why does no one know how to say the name of this place? We just know what it
I
smells.
have no idea.
Yep.
We just know what it smells like. The caramel popcorn.
Yeah.
Number three at Hollywood Studios, Jack Jack Num Num cookies. Especially when they're hot. Delicious. Number two is the anything actually at Gideon's Bakehouse. When I was there a couple weeks ago, they had a chocolate chip cake that I couldn't stop eating it. I had to push it away. It was so much sugar, but it was so good at the same time. We only waited 30 minutes the last time we were there, but the Oreo cookie, the cookies and cream cookie, the chocolate chip cookies, and any of the cake. Don't miss the cake. It's great. And number one, any iteration of Dole Whip. The Peter Pan float, sometimes they have it Magic Kingdom. I got the Dole Whip flight from the spot that's right in front of Rainforest Cafe, the volcano at Disney Springs. Any iteration of it, from Pineapple Lanai at Polynesian, Dole Whip.
All right.
Coconut rum, maybe. Dark rum, yes.
All right. There are a lot of, we've all had a lot of things to choose from. I'm more of a traditionalist for the most part. My number four. Now, Mickey bars did not make it. I just want to say that I love Mickey bars in the parks and on their cruise ships. I don't care for the ones you can buy in the supermarket. They're not as good. So that I'll give that an honorable mention though, but it did not make my list. Number 4. How can you forget zebra domes?
I don't
I
forget
don't
them.
like those. I don't like those.
Oh, I love zebra domes. I could eat a million of them. I'll get sick, but I can still eat them all. And I'm a big sweets person, but my next one, number 3, is the only thing on my list that is not a sweet, and that is the soft pretzels from Beer Garden. Well, not Beer Garden, from the Germany Pavilion.
Right.
Those
Love
big
pretzels
$11
there.
ones that are like this.
It's a meal in itself.
Yeah.
They're
My
really
son and
good.
my son's like, you're not going to get any of this. And about halfway through, he goes, I want the rest. They're huge.
Yeah. Yep. Number 2 is the chocolate mousse in France.
Mm.
Love the best chocolate mousse around. I honestly think it was better before the world event, but it's still really good and still better than anything else. And number 1, I'm with Lottie on this. For me, it's any non-alcoholic iteration of Dole Whip. I don't care, from traditional Dole Whip to whatever flavor of the month is. They're wonderful.
We're
Nothing
so
beats
surprised to hear that from you.
Yeah, I know. What a shock. All right. Let's move on to top 4 shows.
So
Speaking of shows, this is probably gonna be a short show tonight.
well, are there limitations? Does it?
Yes, it can't be an attraction.
It's okay. So shows that are not attractions. What about nighttime shows? Like fireworks.
All right, let's break that into 2 categories. Fireworks, which they're really only. Well, how about we put Fantasmic and the Epcot and Magic Kingdom fireworks shows in one category.
Separate. Okay.
We'll do a top 3 for that because there are no 4 fireworks shows.
Yeah, yeah.
So why don't we do that first? The fireworks shows first.
Ooh, okay.
We're making this up as we go along, folks.
I'm gonna have to make it up as I go along.
Yeah, I know. I got notes over here, and fireworks are nowhere in my notes.
Well, so what's at the Magic Kingdom now? In Happily Ever After?
Happily Ever After came back.
The updated Happily Ever After.
And I have not seen the new one at Epcot now.
It's good. It's
What
really
that's
good.
called Luminous,
Yes.
and then there's Fantasmic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
While John's pondering, I just want to mention today we lost Steve Lawrence. For those of you who remember him, Steve and Edie Gourmet and Steve Lawrence, he passed away today at the age of 88. He was like one of my parents' favorite singers, him and his wife. So I just wanted to mention that to anybody out there who knows or remembers him. And which send our condolences out to his friends and family. Sorry, John, go ahead.
That's all right. So I think, it's tough for me to put Luminous. From what I've heard about it, I think I'm gonna put Fantasmic third, Luminous second, and Happily Ever After first. I have seen Happily Ever After and Fantasmic. I mean, Luminous sounds good, but I got to put it somewhere. Fantasmic. The only thing the thing I don't like about Fantasmic, I hate lining up so far ahead of time to get in that theater.
You know what's worse than that? What's worse than that? I'm going to save it for when it's my turn.
Okay. Well, and so it's I hate doing it so much. I don't do it. I have not been to Fantasmic in more than 15 years.
Wow. The new version of it's
you got to
good.
see it.
You've got to see it.
No one's good.
Well, and we're also not big at staying at parks till close because of the rush coming out and maybe it's because we're old and we're tired. I don't know, but
sounds like old and cranky.
Maybe.
John's not old and cranky.
Happy John is sounding cranky at the end of the night when it's 105 degrees.
Not if I had my blueberry mousse. So.
Well, that's true.
All right, Kurt, what's your top 3?
Well, I also have not seen Luminous. I've seen bits of it. It looks like a good fireworks show, but I currently have to put it at third. I love Happily Ever After, but it still is only second for me, because you are standing in the middle of a crowd of 100,000 people watching it on Main Street. I love the show. I love the music. Yes, dust gets in my eye every once in a while when I watch that show. But number one for me is I love the updated Fantasmic. So I had the privilege of watching it with Stuart last time I was down there.
Yep.
And it was good. I
Kurt
love
woke me up about 20 minutes before it ended. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Stuart, Mickey's gonna change. So that gets me every time. Yeah. When you see Sorcerer Mickey at the top of that thing, if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. It's just he's my favorite character, so it just gets me every time. I get excited when I see him up there and fireworks are going crazy. So that's why I put Fantasmic as number one and Happily Ever After number two. Happy Tears.
Okay, Wadi.
My list looks the same as Kurt's. Luminous. I haven't seen it yet, so it's got to be 3. Happily Ever After is 2. I play the song in the car. No, I don't. I play Magic. That's the one I play for the kids in the car. But the Fantasmic, my children know that at some point during my funeral, preferably the end when I'm leaving, I need the exit music for Fantasmic playing in the church on the way leaving. They've been instructed already. They know that this is what they're supposed to do. Fantastic.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. For me, my list is a little bit different. I have Fantasmic number 3, but not because the show isn't good. The show is wonderful. It's those darn seats. If you don't bring a cushion for that seat, it just like after about, I want to say halfway into the show, maybe 2/3 into the show, it's just, for me, it starts to get uncomfortable. I hate that hard feeling. It's like, I want cushion seats. I know it's outdoors and it's not going to happen, but it just, for me, it's a little bit uncomfortable to sit there the whole show. But it's a great show, and I love the new version of it. Number 2 is Happily Ever After in the Magic Kingdom for the same reasons Kurt gave. You've got 100,000 people around you. Unless you have a perfect viewing spot and a little bit of room to breathe, you've got 100,000 of your best friends that you've never met before all around you. And number 1, I have seen Luminous. It is a wonderful show. Now, and this is a big if I had, like I said, the perfect spot for Happily Ever After, I would go with that as number 1. But because that is hardly ever going to happen, if ever, at this point, I'm going with Luminous. Luminous is a fantastic show. It's a breath of fresh air compared to Harmonious. It's very different from Reflections, and it's a welcome change. And they hit a home run with this one. And I think you guys, when you get to see it, will enjoy it.
I'm agreeing with you on both of those. And going back to what John was saying about not liking to have to wait in line for Fantasmic, if you want an okay spot for Happily Ever After, you really do have to wait about an hour, which is just insane. Yeah. So, and it's the same thing. And then you think you found the perfect spot, and then you realize, it's not the perfect spot.
Yeah, then Will Chamberlain and his great grandchild, Will Chamberlain's not with us.
I've had that.
Or Shaq. You have Shaq in front of you with one of his grandkids. Well, he doesn't have grandkids. When he has grandkids on his shoulders. So you can't see. Right in front of you.
You gotta watch it from outside the Magic Kingdom. Watch it outside the Magic Kingdom. It's always better.
Yeah,
honestly, last year we watched it from our balcony because we're in Bay Lake Tower, and we could hear the music coming down from the Top of the World Lounge. So always fun.
Yeah.
Okay, top 4 shows.
Top 4 shows. Oh, I am going to start. This sounds terrible for me to start at the bottom and say, well, and we're talking stage shows now.
Well,
right?
you know what? You got to start at the bottom sometime and work your way up.
Yeah. Well, no, it just it feels weird for me to say that Beauty and the Beast is my number 4 show because I love Beauty and the Beast the movie. I love Beauty and the Beast the Broadway musical, um, but it's showing its age. We've talked about that before. I still love the music and I still love the show, but it's my number 4. My number 3 is, and I'm not an 8-year-old girl, but for the first time in forever, the Frozen sing along. I like how they do it with the storytellers, and I like the music. But so that's my number 3. My number 2 is Legend of the Lion King in Animal Kingdom. It's still a fantastic show. It's got so much variety in it with the singers and the characters Timon and Pumbaa and the Tumble Monkeys and all of the dancers. But Finding Nemo is my favorite because it's a first-rate stage show, Broadway caliber, and with the puppets or whatever you want to call them, the characterizations of the characters, and the stage itself and the set pieces is just phenomenal, and the theater.
All right. Kurt.
Yeah, I'm with you on Beauty and the Beast. It's a good show, but it is number 4. I had put Finding Nemo at number 3 because I have not seen the updated version of it yet.
It's good. It's good.
I didn't get to see it last time. I did put Lion King 2. It's always a fun show, and it has not changed very much. Number 1, I'm going a different direction. It's the longest running stage show shown at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, I did.
Carousel of Progress.
I considered that an attraction. So
That's an attraction. We disqualify.
If he can do the sing along with Anna and Elsa,
you're not moving around like an attraction ride. You're sitting in a seat.
That's what you're doing in Carousel of Progress.
You're
Instead
watching.
of
You're watching real life live people perform. We're going to disqualify your number 1.
You do you. People will agree with me.
Oh, I don't think so. It's an attraction. Plain and simple. All right, Lottie, go ahead.
So my list is all messed up because my number 1 was Fantasmic, and we had to move that completely to a different category. So number 4 was For the First Time in Forever, the Frozen sing along. And number 3, Beauty and the Beast. Number 2 was Festival of the Lion King, and number 1 was Fantasmic. I've not seen Nemo yet, so I couldn't put it on my list.
Yeah. Well, for me, Beauty and the Beast did not make my top 4 for the same reasons both John and Kurt gave. It just I think they need to make a change there. It's a wonderful show, but it'd be nice for them to bring something different in. Number 4. Now, I haven't seen this in a long time, and I've seen it twice in the last, I'm going to say, year. The Raiders, the Indiana Jones show. It's still, the stunts are just phenomenal. I just love it. Number 3, it's Frozen, First Time in Forever was my number 3. Number 2, by a hair losing out to my number 1, is Festival of the Lion King. And number 1 is Nemo. Nemo, I've always had a preference for Nemo over Lion King. And maybe it's because I've seen Nemo quite a few times too, but Lion King, I think I've seen more than any other show there. So it's just, my preference is Nemo. I just think it's I like the theater it's in. It's air conditioned. That helps. A little newer venue, so to speak. So, yeah. All right. What do we have left
Nobody
here?
had the Up a Great Bird Adventure at the Animal Kingdom.
That's a wonderful show. You're right. That would qualify. That is a wonderful show. I didn't think of it though in the same vein as I did the others though.
When you get right down to it, they're all attractions.
All right, Kurt, keep trying. Keep trying. You know, I expected more from you, Kurt. I expect that from John. You know,
I'm a traditionalist. It's been there longer than any of the other ones you just.
How come you didn't pick the Country Bear Jamboree?
It's currently closed.
Well, it won't be closed forever. Maybe someday it'll be closed forever, but
it's currently closed, and I don't know what the new one's like, so I couldn't pick the Country Bear Jamboree.
Okay.
Or of course, that's the best show there. Why didn't we pick the Tiki Room?
You could have.
Technically, that's still even longer than a Carousel of Progress.
You know what? We could have had a separate
Progress
category.
is considered a stage show.
We could have had a separate category.
Speaking of the Tiki Room, do you think the younger generations enjoy the Tiki Room as much as us who appreciate what Walt did and how he created it?
Only if they see it when they're really young.
Yeah.
Yes.
My
kids love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
My kids quote the entire thing. I was seeing them at our last trip. Like, you can't sit here and sing the entire show. There are people around here that want to hear the birds, not you.
But your kids want to be Imagineers too. At least some of them do.
You know? Yeah. One of them does.
The one that does will be the one who creates park number 5 at Walt Disney World when the day comes.
With the Tiki Room, you really do need to start with them young, because if a teenager goes and sees it, they don't want to relate to the music at that point. It was the same thing with the Country Bears. Got to see it when you're young. My kids love the Country Bears.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with you there. All right, let's move on to. We did snacks. We did counter service restaurants. Top 4 counter service restaurants.
Counter service. So I had one. I see 2 breakdowns of counter service restaurants.
Of course you do.
So there's counter service restaurants in the parks, and there's counter service restaurants in the resorts.
That's right. So pick 4.
So you want them all combined together?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can do that. I do have mine broken down that way.
All right.
So my number 4, and I'm looking at 2 different lists here. My number 4 is going to be Columbia Harbor House. My number 3 is the Mara at Animal Kingdom Lodge. My number 2 is Primo Piatto at the Riviera. They have great counter service food there. I mean, you can get other meals there, but it's not just dinner, but you can get dinner, lunch. They've got great food there, and it's not the most convenient, but I love the food there. But my number 1 counter service remains Satuli Canteen. We talked about that before.
All right.
Okay.
What is the name of the new? It's the new dining over at Epcot. It's over by
Connections Cafe.
Oh, Connections
Cafe. So it was a lot of food. It was quite edible. That's probably number 4.
It was quite edible.
It was quite edible. It was pretty good. Well, we also ordered it we were all seasick, so we were able to eat it still.
It was not horrible.
Guardians of the Galaxy. So it was good. Well, again, usually when I'm walking around Epcot, we're eating from the festivals. So currently, when we're going down, Flower and Garden's not even supposed to be on, so I don't know what we're going to do about food. So now we got to look at actual restaurants unless they do something special in the summer. Number 3, actually, Backlot Express. Huge selection of food, a lot of good snacks. Number 2, Evil Sandwich Queen's not going to like me with this one, but it's got to be Earl's Sandwich. Quality food. I'm still saying quality food. I'm sorry you had a bad meal last time you went, at an affordable price. So I thought, Stuart, you said last time it just wasn't quite as good.
Well, no. It's always good.
Okay.
The problem I'm having with Earl's sandwiches, the prices are going up and the shrinkage is going up.
Mm.
Oh, so you're not getting as big of a sandwich?
It's they're cutting back on the size and yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, still, I'm going with the quality of food. And
Quality's
number
still
one,
there.
yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's still there. Awesome.
Yeah.
Like John said, Satuli Canteen. You can't. I mean, it's number one in the parks as far as quality of foods, especially how you can individually make each meal exactly how you want to make it, which is so nice. Made to order.
Mm.
All right, Lottie.
All right, my number 4. I can't beat Married to Kyle T. Ferguson and not have Flame Tree Barbecue on the list over Animal Kingdom. The portion sizes and the food is just fantastic. One of the best places to get barbecue. Um, um, Actually, you know what? Kyle wanted me to put that on the list as number 4, but I think I might have to replace that with what's the barbecue spot at Epcot?
Regal Eagle.
Regal Eagle, yeah.
Regal Eagle.
Oh,
Regal Eagle
Eagle.
would be better than Flame Tree. The fries are, and then that mint julep you can get right outside is pretty amazing. So yeah, I'm gonna scratch that number 4 because that was all Kyle. My number 4 would be, if it's barbecue, it has to be Regal Eagle. Number
I'm with
3,
you.
Columbia Harbor House over at the Magic Kingdom. I get a lobster roll just about every time I go. Number 2, Chicken Guy at Disney Springs. It's a favorite of my kids. I am disappointed that they cut the number of sauces available from 22 down to like 12. Some of my favorites didn't make the list. And then number 1, I gotta agree with you on this one. Satuli Canteen over in Animal Kingdom is just having the best counter service on property.
Yeah. All right. This, of all the lists we've done, this was probably the toughest one for me of all of them. Sit down restaurants, there were a lot that got left off the list, but there are a lot that, just are a step above the others for me, for different reasons. But when it came to counter service or quick service, whatever you want to call it, it was tough. But I did narrow it down at number 4, Guy Fieri's in Disney Spring. Love the chicken there. There's a new place that opened up for anybody right near Margaritaville, called, is it called Cane's? I forgot the name of it, but they just
Raising Cane's.
Yeah, they just sell
They
chicken.
got Raising Cane's?
Yes. So if you can get off property and go there, excellent.
It's not better than Chicken Guy though.
No, it's not. It's a lot cheaper. But it's not. I'd say it's maybe a step or two below, but the cost is a lot less.
See, that was my disappointment with Chicken Guy. I felt like, especially because we have a Raising Cane's and places like that. To me, Chicken Guy, the portion seems smaller, but you were paying more.
Yep.
And that's what disappointed me in that.
You're right, but the chicken is just like,
it's good.
Yeah, really good. Number 3, Yorkshire Fish and Chips. Has always been a favorite of mine from the time I was knee-high to a grasshopper. Not true, but yeah. Number 2, Connections. The burger at Connections is my favorite. Now I know Burger 71. I'm sorry, Steakhouse 71 has a great burger, but the burger at Connections, for the price, you can't beat it. It's excellent. My favorite burger on property. And the desserts are really good too. So is the other food there. And number 1, we're all in agreement on this, I think. Satuli's Canteen. I mean, it's so far and above anything and everything else you can get for quick service anywhere.
It's the best.
I love so many restaurants that should have made it, or quick service that should have made this list, but I had to narrow it down to 4.
I would cross off Connections now. I completely forgot about Regal Eagle and put that at my number 2 spot.
You know what? Because I've been to both plenty of times. Regal Eagle, we actually haven't gone to in the last, I want to say 6 months, because it was so played out with us. It's It's still good. It's really good. Don't get me wrong, but it got tired because we're here. But for somebody who's visiting, it's never going to get tired for you if you're coming once or twice a year.
Mm-hmm. That's us, Lottie.
Yeah.
Yep.
And John.
I'm still looking forward to getting there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's do top 4 resorts.
Resorts. Where's my list of resorts? I have them here somewhere.
Here, yep.
How did I lose? Oh, there they are. Okay. So my order of resorts, and this, oh gosh, this could flip flop for me at any moment, but I'm going to start at number 4 with Riviera. I really like staying there. We were fortunate enough to stay. We were actually fortunate enough to stay in a 1-bedroom there, but love the ambiance. I love being on the Skyliner, and you can get to Epcot and Hollywood Studios fairly easily. You know, you're not close to Magic Kingdom or you're not close to Animal Kingdom, but I really like it there. I like the vibe. I still love the contemporary. There's something about the contemporary that is, you know, so original Walt Disney World. I love the Grand Concourse there, and I love going over there just to visit, taking the monorail over, visiting the shops, looking for a snack, or just wandering around. Number 2 for me is Wilderness Lodge. It's another one of the resorts that I just love to go visit, whether it's sitting up in a rocking chair near the fireplace, or going into the gift shop, or going out back and looking at the geyser, or just sitting in the lobby and looking up at all the woodwork in the rafters. But my number 1 is the Polynesian. I love the theming of the Polynesian. I love being close to Magic Kingdom. I love staying there for races because I can walk right out of there and get onto the monorail. So if I have to go over to Epcot for marathon or a half marathon, it's easy to get there. But I love the feel of the Polynesian, the shopping there, the dining there. I love being able to go, you know what, and there's one of the counter services I left off, and that's the Captain Cook's there,
Mm-hmm.
the Polynesian. So the Poly is I'm listing as my favorite resort.
Okay. Can't argue with you. All right, Kurt.
Okay, I'm going at this. I'm spoiled. Since 2007, we've been Disney Vacation Club members, so I'm going at it from that direction.
That's fine.
My number 4 was Poly. I love it, but right now all they had was the studios or those Gigambo Huge. I don't have enough points to be living out on the lake.
Does?
So that's why I took Poly as number 4. The restaurants that got me there, and the closeness where you could just literally up on the monorail. Number 3, I went with Kidani Village over at Animal Kingdom Lodge. You go on the floor, it's going to rain, underground parking, and it's right. You can park right underneath of your room within probably 1,000 yards. So I love Animal Kingdom Kidani Village. Number 2, I made Bay Lake Tower. Again, there's a couple little secret ways you can get a standard room, but still be able to see the fireworks. And that's one of the best views. As long as you don't look straight down. It's just one of the best views that we get with that. And number 1 is Wilderness Lodge. It is the most relaxing resort to us. And it's location. So love me Wilderness Lodge.
Okay, Lottie.
So I got a bunch of kids. My number 4 is Art of Animation, just simply because of the family suites and the proximity to the Skyliner. There aren't a ton of places that are not DVC where families can actually stay and be comfortable. So Art of Animation, family suites, number 4. Number 3, Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's just gorgeous. And to have a Savannah view with the balcony is just it's an amazing stay. You could literally just stay there and not go to any of the parks. Number 2, only it's It's only number 2 because I've never actually stayed there, but I visit all the time because Pineapple Lanai and Trader Sam's, but Polynesian is just an amazing resort. It's on my bucket list. I'm gonna get a week there, hopefully sometime before I'm 80. And number 1, uh, I have stayed here. It is a fantastic stay. It's my favorite place, Yacht and Beach Club. It's within walking
Almost
distance of Epcot. The pool there is just amazing. It's great rooms. It's not stuffy like the Grand Floridian. Um, and I like to be able to walk right over to the World Gateway at Epcot, my favorite park. So, Yacht and Beach.
All right. My top 4 for number 4, I have Wilderness Lodge. Number 3, I have the French Quarter. That was always a favorite of ours when our kids were little. Number 2, Polynesian. And number 1, a step above the rest, the Beach Club.
Did you notice no one chose the Grand Floridian?
I've been through the Grand Floridian plenty of times, never stayed there.
It's too stuffy for me. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I agree.
I
We had
agree.
discussed it, and when you're weighing the pros and cons, for us, it just wasn't enough pros.
Yeah.
We stayed in a regular room there one time, and we stayed in a studio in the villas one time. But I feel the same way. I love to visit it there, but I always feel like somebody's looking over at me or looking down at me or something.
Disapprovingly. Why are you here? Where is your Grey Poupon?
Grey Poupon.
Yeah, I've always gotten that same feeling too. Even just walking through there, people look at you like, all right, you don't belong here. Why are you here? Well, I'm not wearing a freaking tuxedo, so screw you.
Yeah, as long as they have gingerbread, I'm going to keep going back.
All right, I think we've got a couple of top 4s left. Attractions and sit-down dining spots.
Oh, okay.
Sit-down dining. Let's do that first.
Sit-down dining. Okay. Well, I'm going to start with number 4 being Sanaa at Kidani Village. Love the bread service. I love the ambiance. I love being able to look out onto the savannah. It's the flavors of the animal kingdom. Whether you're someplace like Jico or Boma or Sanaa, and they all have that rich and flavorful food. But Sanaa's, it might be higher if it was a little bit easier to get to. I don't know, but it's. I mean, it's hard to say that the top 4 are that much different. But
so, John, is your song this week going to be "K Sanaa"? Bless you.
Did Steve Lawrence ever sing that? No,
I don't believe so.
Who knows? We'll see what it's going to be. My number 3, I put a tie here because I think of them very much the same, and that's Boma and Tusker House. They're both, a buffet kind of thing. Tusker House has got the characters, but I mean, to me, they're very similar in the kind of food and the quality of food and the variety of it. Number 2, and I've talked about this one before, and it's probably not on anybody that's an Epicurean expert, but Garden Grill. I love the how good the food tastes, the comfort food you get at Garden Grill, how much they give you, and I like the characters there too, and I like the rotation and getting to see the living with the land part of the living with the land attraction while you're there too. My number 1, and this is the closest that I get to fine dining in Disney World, is Topolino's Terrace. I love the food there. I've had breakfast there. I've had dinner there. It's exquisite, excellent food. It's got a great view up top there. Breakfast, there are characters there as well, Mickey and Minnie and others. but it's just excellent food to me. So Topolino's Terrace, it's a tough place to get, but right now it's currently my favorite sit down.
Nice. I'm going to cut flat out say I have not eaten in a table service restaurant in years. So this is going by memory. So if you don't agree with me, it's good how these are how I remember how good they were. So
Okay.
Number 4, we go with Be Our Guest. I actually preferred it when it was like the carry out lunch. Well, not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think most
Not a
people,
non-table service for lunch.
Yep.
I think most people do.
The ambiance for that place was just incredible. So that to me was a cash grab when they said we're going to move that to lunch as well. Number 3 is Chef Mickey's. It's because we used to take our kids there when they were really little, and I still get excited when I see Mickey and all of his friends dancing around when we're going over there to eat. Number 2 is 50's Primetime Cafe. Stuart, take your elbows off the table. And just good home cooked meals. Number 1, Le Cellier. I really can't afford it anymore. But love me some Canadian cheddar cheese soup. We like it so much, my wife makes that probably at least once every other month.
Well,
So.
All right, Lottie,
Foodie.
you're up.
All right, mine 4 is over at Epcot Space 220. The whole show atmosphere, the whole show aspect of it is just outstanding. The drinks are great, the food's great. If you haven't been, get a reservation. They're hard to get, but try to get one. Or if not, just walk up and see if you can go to the lounge. But Space 220 is fantastic. Number 3 at Disney Springs, Chef Art Smith's Homecoming. The fried chicken and the cheese biscuits are just insane. They've got this moonshine flight that if you can get through all 4 glasses of the moonshine and walk out of there, then you got some serious drinking chops, because I've never been able to finish that, but it's amazing. Number 2, Animal Kingdom, Tiffin's and Nomad Lounge. It is signature dining, Tiffin's, and it's worth every penny. I can't say more. I can't say more than enough about that restaurant. People, I think, underestimate it. It's just really good. The theming is great, but it's not in your face theming. You really have to look at it and pick through and enjoy all the detail on that. And my number 1 is Disney Springs Wine Bar George. The fried macaroni and cheese balls, the steak they bring out on the platter, the skirt steak platter. It's all, and then the wine list. I could eat that and then walk right across to Gideon's and get a slice of cake, and that's my whole night.
And you go into your sugar coma.
Right.
Yeah. I can't believe I forgot Chef Art Smith. So I'd yank off Be Our Guest and put Chef Art Smith on there.
Okay. We'll give you that one.
Give me that one.
All right. My list. There is a pattern to my madness. Number 4. I have Crystal Palace. It's always been a favorite of ours from the time when our kids were little to now. It's just a place we love to go whenever we can go. Although it's been a while because the crowds at Disney have been a little bit much. To get a reservation hasn't been that easy for us, but I'll get back there soon. Number 3, the most underrated restaurant in all Disney World property, Garden Grill. It's a phenomenal restaurant, and I don't think it gets enough kudos for being as good as it is. Number 2, and I picked this as number 2 because the ambiance and the pizza are by far the best you'll get anywhere in this entire state of Florida, and that is Via Napoli.
Via Napoli. I can't
And
believe I forgot
number
that one too.
one, and I see Kurt forgot Via Napoli too. Number one, another buffet, Cape May Cafe, best restaurant on property, bar none. And there were some great ones. Well, I'm sure. What is it? In the Grand Floridian, I'm sure some people with their nose up in
Victorian
the air will.
Alberts.
Victorian
Albert is amazing. It's not on my list. The snooty foodie in the group. It's not on my list because it costs so much. We really could have had. We could have had table service and we could have had buffets because there's enough of them.
Yeah.
Right.
We could have. I almost had a third buffet on my list. I almost put Boma on there.
Well,
Boma, best breakfast on property.
The only overlap we had was Art Smith's Homecoming and Garden Grill.
Yeah.
In our list, that just tells you how much good dining there is.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'm kicking myself. It's been probably 3 years since we did a table service. So, why did I not pick Via Napoli? It's like one of the best restaurants on property.
Yeah.
If you gave me the choice between Chef Art Smith's and the Chicken Guy, and cost were not a factor, I'd still pick the Chicken Guy. I just like it better than I like Chef Art Smith's. That's not to say it's a bad restaurant.
It's comfort food at its best, man.
Yeah.
Yep,
it is. It's good. Look, there's no denying that. I just prefer the Chicken Guy. So, Kurt, you've got to eat at some sit-down restaurants.
You do.
When you got 4 people, well, actually, their last
win the lottery.
It's been 6 of us going.
Yeah.
So
you got big giant boys. They probably 2 of them in the bill's $150.
Picky. Yep. I think it's picky. So it gets quite pricey.
All right. Top 4 attractions. We're going to wrap this show up. John.
Okay, I'm going to make mine very straightforward. It seems weird to me, but my number 4 is Rise of the Resistance. A phenomenal. I don't even call it an attraction. It's an experience from beginning to end. But my number 3 and number 2 are classics. My number 3 is Haunted Mansion. No, I mean you don't need an explanation about it. It's just that good. It's a perennial favorite. Number 2 is Pirates of the Caribbean. Again, a classic. And ever since it's come out, it's just been my most fun and enjoyable attraction, and it's currently my favorite attraction is Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. I love to go on that attraction. It's just fun.
All right, so I had to pass on Remy because I had to drop one off, and Remy. Sorry, Remy. I missed the rat. Tied for 4th, Tron and Flight of Passage. I couldn't pick just one. I love both of them, and I make sure I ride each one of them every time we're down there. 3, I did go with the Haunted Mansion. And 2, I went with Pirates of the Caribbean because you got to have those 2. They are absolute classics. If you're not singing Yo Ho and enjoying the new Hatbox Ghost, something's wrong. So my number 1 is Rise of the Resistance. Usually when I show up there, I've got a hat on from the Resistance, so I kind of get yelled at a lot by the First Order. I love that ride. It's just an awesome ride. So
there it is.
Mm-hmm. All right, Lottie.
All right, my number 4 has been my favorite for years. It got dethroned, but Soarin' is my favorite. One of the most comforting noises I can ever is the sound of everybody hitting the button that release their seatbelts at the same time. I don't know why. I just love that sound. Number 3, Avatar: Flight of Passage. I love that one. 2, Rise of the Resistance, and number 1, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. It's especially if I get Gloria Estefan or Earth, Wind, and Fire. My kids say I'm a completely different person when I'm on that ride. I don't know, something about that one just makes me super happy. Oh, and there's a little bit of Flint there. Terry Crews, it's in the pre-show. It's from Flint. So shout out to Terry Crews, and the fact that there's just a tiny bit of Flint in that ride makes it my favorite.
All right. I was gonna put Carousel of Progress on my list, but Kurt called it a show, so I disqualified.
It's a show.
It's not a show; it's an attraction.
It's a stage
The
show.
show.
Number 4 on my list was for many years my number 1 favorite attraction, and so I want to qualify this by saying, if you ask me on any given day, my list, the order of my list, and the attractions on my list would change. But I had to pick 4 today, and these are the 4 right now in this order. And that number 4 is Spaceship Earth. Number 3, Rise of the Resistance. Number 2, Haunted Mansion. Gotta love the Hatbox Ghost, which they added in. And finally, and number 1, Soarin'. Love Soarin'. Don't pay attention to the seatbelts clicking out at the end or in the beginning, whatever it is, but love Soarin'. And you got to, for some reason, we always, not always, I'd say 85 to 90% of the time, we wind up in the row, I guess it's the front row where you don't have the feet dangling over. I don't know how we do it. It's just luck of the draw, but we've been very lucky.
Top center. Best ever.
I just have been dying to get to top center for the first time in a long time. I'm always so disappointed when I don't get there. It's been so long since I've been there.
All right. We're a little over an hour now. We're going to end this podcast for this week. We will be back in a week and a half, roughly, with the next episode. So everybody be safe, be yourself. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
See you real soon.
I have to say that I prepare for these shows ahead of time, but the one thing I do not prepare ahead of time is my closing. My closing is just kind of serendipitous, and it happens as it happens throughout the show. But something I picked up on this show this time, and it's a classic, and that is, in the tiki 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 room, in the tiki 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 room, all the birds sing words and the flowers croon, in the tiki 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 room. So we hope you come back next week and you find some room in your schedule to come and listen to us again. Good night, everybody.